If Donald Trump loses, there's a real danger that he will try to overturn the results and steal the election. And we have a very good idea of how he'd try to do it. This isn't a conspiracy theory. Trump has repeatedly told us that he won't accept the results of the election if he loses.
It'll end up being a rigged election, or they will never come out with an outcome. They'll have to do it again.
So the only way they can take this election away from us is if this is a rigged election.
I don't want to see a crooked election. This election will be the most rigged election in history.
That may sound impossible, but unfortunately, our election system is poorly designed and vulnerable to an attack by a would-be autocrat like Donald Trump. Here's how it works. There are two vote counts that determine who wins the presidency. The first count is of voters' ballots, and it happens between now and December 8th. While there's no hard deadline for states to finish counting voters' ballots, federal law creates a strong incentive for states to finish by December 8th. The second count is of the Electoral College votes themselves. When you vote for a presidential candidate, you're actually voting for a slate of electors, actual people who vote to elect the president. Those 538 electors, collectively referred to as the Electoral College, then vote to choose the president. Each state's electors meet in their state on December 14th. They vote for the president and send a record of their votes to Congress. Then, on January 6th, the newly elected Congress, not the current one, counts Electoral College votes. This count in Congress is what actually determines who the president is. If Trump tries to steal the presidency, he'll do it by disrupting both of these counts. Between Election Day and December 14th, we should expect Trump and his allies to disrupt the ballot count and try to delay it past when the Electoral College meets on December 14th. His campaign could file legal and administrative challenges against ballots. We may see armed white supremacist militias attempt to directly prevent boards of elections from counting ballots, and Trump may even order federal agents to seize ballots or halt the count in some places. Creating chaos, delaying the ballot count, and potentially making it impossible to complete the ballot count before the Electoral College meets on December 14th would all be intended to sow public doubt about the legitimacy of the election. That's when the Republicans would make their move. Normally, the governor of a state is responsible for certifying which candidate's electors should be appointed to the Electoral College based on which candidate won the state's popular vote. This is where the constitutional crisis could begin. Republican state legislatures in key swing states like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, each of which has a Democratic governor and a Republican-led state legislature, could declare that the election has been corrupted by fraud, that an accurate ballot count is impossible, and that Trump is the rightful winner. The legislature could then vote to illegally appoint a second, rival slate of Trump electors to vote alongside the legitimately appointed slate of Biden electors on December 14th. That would result in the state sending two contradictory votes to Congress. This may sound far-fetched, but it's happened before. In 1876, 4 states sent competing slates of electors to Congress in the election between Democrat Samuel Tilden and Republican Rutherford B. Hayes. The result was a major constitutional crisis. Following protracted negotiations, which concluded only days before the inauguration, the two parties reached a political compromise to determine the winner. Hayes was sworn in as the president in return for the withdrawal of federal troops from the South, thus effectively ending Reconstruction and ushering in a century of Jim Crow. If a state sends 2 slates of electors to Congress, Congress must determine which electors to count and which to discard. And if that happens, and the outcome of the presidential election comes down to a vote in Congress, we can be sure that Republicans will do everything in their power to make Trump the winner on January 6th. They'll do that even if it means violating political norms and even the law. What we're talking about is not an election, it's a coup. We will be in a fight to save democracy. The good news is that if Trump tries to steal the election, we can block him if we take decisive action. If Trump tries to steal the election, we need to protest by the tens of millions. And we need to keep protesting until Trump concedes and leaves the White House. A contested election won't be a legal fight. It will be a struggle of political will. And we need to demonstrate that the American people will not tolerate a coup, that we will fight to defend the Constitution. But protest will not be enough. We also need elected Democrats to do their part. Key swing states, including Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, have Democratic governors, and Democrats have control of the House. Democrats may also take control of the U.S. Senate in this election. That gives Democrats the power to stop Trump if they treat this like a no-holds-barred political fight to save democracy. Specifically, we need Democrats to do 3 things. First, Joe Biden must not concede unless and until every single vote has been counted and it becomes clear that Trump is the legitimate winner. Biden has to be willing to take the fight all the way to Congress. Second, if Trump prevents all of the ballots from being counted, or if Republican legislatures appoint fraudulent Trump electors, Democratic governors need to be willing to appoint Biden electors. Third, Democrats in Congress need to do whatever it takes to stop Republicans from counting illegitimate Trump electors, up to and including shutting down Congress and preventing electoral college votes from being counted. If you want to know more, go to www.thecountguide.com. Becky Bond, Brandon Evans, and I just released a comprehensive guide on what Trump can do to steal the election and how we can stop him. The only way Trump can steal this election is if we let him. If we fight for our democracy, we will win.